guys, how's it going? I am here with my second update for my project pan. So basically I was meant to film this a couple of weeks ago and I sat down and did it, but for whatever reason it didn't record, and I've just had a couple of crazy weeks with work and weddings, so I haven't had a lot of opportunity to do this. So what I thought is it's kind of putting me back on schedule, because now I'm essentially just going to film it and post it sort of the last week or second last week of the month. So this one's kind of been a bit of an extra long update because I've had an extra couple of weeks, and I was hoping to finish a couple of the other products in here, which I didn't necessarily do, but you know, yeah, so let's get into it. Cool. So first is a finished product. It's the L'Occitane Whipped Body Cream. So I only rolled this one in last month, but as you can see, it is completely empty. So that one wasn't hard because it had like a really whipped texture, so it was like super fluffy, and so you could just use a fair bit of it. I don't love the smell. It smells a bit like old lady, so I'm not super into that, but I do have really dry skin and I do want to make more of a point of using sort of the body products that I have in my collection. So I am rolling in another product. It is, yeah, so this is the Rosken Intense Moisture Body Lotion Skin Boost for very dry skin. I quite like the smell of this. This thing has 400 mils of product and it is basically full. I will put the starting weight on the screen, but it is really heavy. I basically never use this. I haven't even used it in the last couple of weeks since I finished the other one and decided I was going to roll this in. So for me, this is more about keeping it, I guess, next to me on the couch, because that tends to be when I kind of remember to do these things and I just can't be bothered to get up to go get the moisturizer. So if it sits here with me on the couch, I'll probably remember to do it. So that one is probably quite important. I'm gonna let's talk about this, because this has some of the most exciting progress on it. So because I delayed the filming of this so much, I was really hoping that I would have finished the powder, but as you can see here, and I'll pop a comparison photo up on the screen, I've got very little left in there for the powder. It's probably 1 to 2, maybe 2 uses if I just set my under eye, but if I use it on my whole face, it's probably gone. So I was hoping, like literally just before this, I was using it on my face and trying to even bring it down on my neck just to kind of use it, but that's not going to happen. So this will be done next month. I don't think I'm going to roll in another face powder similar to that, because I've only got sort of new ones and they're mostly full. It's definitely not an area in my makeup collection where I have like a huge oversupply of powders. I'm tossing up whether or not I want to work on the bronzers maybe in this collection, in this palette, but because the powder's finished and because I hit my goal on the highlighter, I have decided I'm rolling the highlighter out as of this month, so I will no longer be using this highlighter on such a regular basis. So I don't know if that changes things for the bronzer for me personally. Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it, but for all intents and purposes, next month this one will be done, which is great. So in its place, I wanted to roll in another highlighter, because my highlighter collection is probably the part of my makeup collection that seems to be expanding the most, but it's definitely also one of those things that you use so little of, and doesn't have like a lot of additional uses beyond sort of actual highlight and maybe a little bit on your eyes. So I'm rolling in another one. This one is the Mecca Max Skin Halo in Diamond Dust. It says it's an illuminating powder. It's just a really nice highlighter. It's got a bit, you probably won't be able to see, but I'll probably pop a photo in. It's got a bit of a divot in there, so I don't know. My goal on this would just be to hit pan in the center, so I could just sort of focus on that. Like I wouldn't want to use up the whole thing because there's obviously a lot of product in there. But I really want to make sure I start using more of my highlighters, which is why I'm rolling that one in. Cool. So next product, the Ico Brow Gel, the Tinted Brow Booster. So I've been weighing this product. The weight is on the screen, but in terms of how much I used in a month, it was 0.4 grams. So this says it's 8 mils of product. It's probably a bit thicker or heavier than water, so it's probably not a direct comparison, but I was kind of hoping that I'd be seeing some good progress on this because I absolutely hate it and I really just want to finish it up so I can buy a new brow gel. With the Urban Decay liner, the 24/7 Glide On pencil in the color Ransom, this really pretty purple, I have used 0.3 grams in the last month, which is not bad, and I've like sharpened it a couple of times. I'm finding that I think because it's a bit old, it doesn't quite perform as well as I want, so I'm needing to sharpen it a lot to kind of get the look that I want out of this. So I don't know if this one will make it or if I might just end up rolling it out and chucking it in the bin because it's just not working the way it should anymore, and that's really on me because this is years old, and I should have used it when I had the chance. For my eyebrow color, I've been using the Clinique Superfine liner for brows in the color Soft Brown. So this was one that I was hoping to see a lot of progress on. I have no idea how much is in there because it's one of those non-retractable windies and it doesn't actually advertise like a weight on the packaging, so I'm not actually sure at all how much net weight is meant to be in there. But when I first weighed it, well, when I weighed it the last month, it was 3.9 grams, and when I weighed it again this month, it was 3.9 grams. So I don't know. I know that 0.1 gram is probably a lot of eyebrow pencil to use, but it's, yeah, like, I don't know, I'm just a bit disappointed, I guess, because I was really hoping to kind of have some tangible progress on this, and I think because I waited a couple of weeks ago when I originally did this, maybe in the last couple of weeks I've used like a lot more of it as well, so I'm sure in the next update that I will see some good progress with that, and I really hope I do. Awesome, so let's talk primer. So, okay, so the Smashbox Photo Finish Serene Greens Primer Water, this was where I was on my first, when I introduced it. That was my first update, and this is where we are now. So you can see that there wasn't that much progress on this, and really that's because I've sort of stopped using this in the last month. I found that when I use this on top of my makeup, like as a finishing spray, I had bad makeup days. Like it broke apart on my nose and got kind of crusty, so I just don't think that that's what this was for. And even when I used it under my makeup as a primer, that was the case. So I think the only real use for this for me is like a refreshing spray on a non-makeup day. But I'm transitioning into winter now, so I feel as though this is not necessarily the product I'm going to want to be using. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on this, and if I'm not finding that I make any progress on it in the next month or so, I might need to swap it out just to something that I'm more likely to use. We'll see on that one. This one is the Perricone MD Exfoliating Pore Refiner, because I was trying to put more skincare into this. And what I have found is that there's like, I marked it when I started and I have so little progress that it's virtually not worth me. I couldn't really mark it. Basically, I just didn't have this in the right place to remember to use it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna put it, I guess, with the rest of my, or maybe in my bathroom with the rest of my face washing things so that I can kind of do it all at once, because this seems to be a step that I'm missing, and I just really want to kind of make sure that I use this, not only because I want to get the use out of it, but because it's a good product and it does nice things for my skin, especially as I'm heading into the drier months. It's really nice to have that sort of chemical exfoliant that's breaking down some of that dead skin for me, and I don't have to use physical ones because I find that they're not as nice for my skin. We sort of done this a bit backwards, but the next product is the Maybelline Fit Me in the Dewy and Smooth. So I have some decent progress on this. I remarked it because since I used it, since I was meant to film this, I've used it a bit more. So from start to first update to now, we've made some pretty consistent progress every month. So I'm guessing it's probably another 2 months before I use this up. It's getting a little bit cooler here, which actually sort of does help me with this because it is a more dewy finish. I find if it's too hot that it's a bit too slippery and slidey, and that I do want something a bit more set. I do think in the late autumn summer period that we are in now that I will get a bit more use out of this and should be able to finish it pretty quickly. So the next is my Smashbox Photo Finish Color Correcting Adjusting Primer. Is that what that is actually called? No. Photo Finish Foundation Primer in Color Correcting Adjust. That doesn't make any sense. So this one I have some good progress on. I introduced it last month, and that's the line, and down there is where we are now. So when I use this, I'm finding that I have to like squeeze like this to kind of get the product down to about that point before it starts coming out. That is the thickest part of the container though, and I do think that it will still be a couple of months on this at least, because it is a sort of silicone pore filling primer. I don't use that much of it, so I'm only using a little sort of pea-sized amount each time, which means that I'm not getting through it as quickly as if I was like slathering it everywhere, which is just not really possible with this kind of product. For those of you who are keeping up, there's also a lip gloss and a like a skin essence thing that I introduced last month. I have misplaced both of those products. I don't know where they are. I've been away for a couple of weekends, so I reckon they're probably in a different handbag or makeup bag sitting somewhere, but I just can't find them. But as a result, that means that the progress on them is probably not so good anyway, so meh. So I have 2 products left to just talk about. Both of them are the Nars products. I've misplaced my lip gloss and another skin product that I rolled into this. I've been away a few weekends. I don't know. I think they're probably in a bag, a handbag, or an away bag or something like that. I can't find them. I will add a picture if I can find them of the progress, but yeah, I just don't know where that lip gloss is. As a result of me not knowing where they are, progress probably isn't so great, so whatever. But the first one I want to talk about is the Nars Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturiser. So this is starting to feel very, very light. Like a lot of the weight feels like it's probably in this cap here. So I don't know. So in terms of progress, from when I first introduced it and weighed it to when I last weighed it, I've used up 3.5 grams. So in theory, this is a 50 ml product. So 3.5 grams is actually pretty decent in terms of weight used there. So I have a feeling I use this most days. Like when I go to work, this is what I tend to put on because it's just a bit lighter and a bit more comfortable. So I think this will go pretty soon, if not next month, probably the next. We'll see. I would definitely repurchase this as well because I really like this as a tinted moisturizer. It's a bit more than like the BB creams and things that you would buy from other brands. It's got a bit more coverage than that, and yeah, it's just quite nice in terms of the finish. And then finally is my Nars Soft Matte Concealer, Complete Concealer. So I'd already hit bottom on this, and what I've been doing is just trying to work some side pan. I'll insert a photo if this is a bit hard to see, and I'll also include the photo from my last update. This is going, but there's still heaps of product in there, so I reckon it's still got several months to go. And this too was sitting in one of my away bags from a couple of weekends ago, so I haven't really used this much in the last couple of weeks. So I better make sure that I get it back on my makeup table so that I'm using it every day, because that's the only way it's going to work. That's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.